They have spoken, and they want to see people with real-world business experience in Washington. I think that's why you see the markets rallying, because there's a hope that there's going to be people with deeper understanding of the markets, of market fundamentals, of the international trade situation, and what that means for the balance of power between the U.S. and the rest of the world. So I think that's what that means. And I think importantly in the crypto space, what it means is no more regulation by enforcement, that America needs to go back to embracing innovation, and we need to be forward-looking like we are here in Singapore, and be focused on what can we do to provide regulatory clarity now or today. And that's why I've proposed a U.S. regulatory sandbox in the past that we've talked about. And that's something that we can do now, we can do today. The MAS stood up their regulatory sandbox in 2018. It's time for us to do these pilot programs now. And the GMAC has been putting forward proposals as well to provide that regulatory clarity. Tokenized collateral proposal is coming up on November 21st. And there's already been the first ever GMAC U.S. digital asset taxonomy that will help to bridge that gap so that American can catch up with the regulatory clarity for crypto assets around the world that we're still lacking.
Okay, so there is much debate in the market right now about what President-elect Donald Trump would mean for regulation of crypto assets. Do you think we should be ready for lighter regulation or more regulation? Because as industry gets bigger and bigger, more formalized, I think, to my mind, there needs to be greater regulation and greater regulatory oversight. And you've been supportive of that. You've been very vocal about that. And so how do you see that contrasting with what policy could look like under Trump 2.0?
I think what people want to see is us getting back to the basics and putting in the work to establish clear rules of the road. Right now is an untenable situation because without clear rules of the road, what we have is a gotcha enforcement environment. And that's what we've seen. We've seen regulation by enforcement. So I do think that the first priority is going to be let's establish a regulatory framework that's sensible over crypto assets, that doesn't unnecessarily impede innovation and is up to current day with the amazing transformation that we're seeing in market structure, with the potential, again, with tokenization and what that can mean for clearing, for settlement, for 24/7 markets. But at the same time, ensure that we have protections in place for market participants and protections to guard against conflicts of interest. So it's all about right-sizing a clear regulatory framework for crypto assets in the United States.
And what would that look like for you? Give us examples. Like, are you talking about KYC? Are you talking about data storage, data security, know your customer, essentially? Who are the people who are transacting on blockchain? More disclosure norms. Could you spell it out in terms of what regulation is good regulation, what regulation is bad and unproductive regulation?
Sure, of course. So the first thing that we need to do is to establish clear registration regimes. So a lot of the enforcement actions that we've had at the CFTC and at the SEC have been for failure to register as a broker-dealer or failure to register as an exchange. At the CFTC, failure to register as a futures exchange. But the thing is that we've not provided the guidance to the industry on how do you register. So it's all well and good to do, like I said, it's a gotcha environment. You didn't register, but firms have put in applications with both agencies to try to register. And so I think it's not really fair to, on the one hand, say, come register. On the other hand, not tell anybody how to do that or to approve any applications.